This is the Savvy Investor radio show and podcast. For help with your retirement, schedule a 15-minute phone conversation with the team at ProStatus Financial Advisors today. Just call 866-597-1040 and at thesavvyinvestorradio.com.
So it's common to think that when we go to retire, we're going to pay less in taxes. But no. I think we need to rethink that, and that's what we're talking about today here on the Savvy Investor Radio Show and Podcast. And Savvy Investors, thank you for staying with us. Listen to this. According to this statistic from AARP, and Mike, I know you're sitting down, but I want you, while I'm giving you these facts, Sam, and help me out here. Just let's keep Mike as calm as we can.
We're pumping him up.
This right here, because he's going to flip his lid, as you are too, listening today when you hear this. According to AARP, get this. Americans who are 50 and older, we Americans 50 and older, make up just 35% of the population, right? But here is the kicker. We pay 59% of all federal income tax. How in the world is that possible when we are going into retirement, when a lot of us are at our most vulnerable because with health and we get older, we can't go back to work at the level we did before? How is that even possible, Mike?
I mean, on one hand, I want to be shocked. On one hand, I want to be just blown out of the water by those numbers. But the fact is that our whole entire industry is built around grow. And nobody has spent any time with the 30 and 40 and 50 year olds explaining to them the tax consequences of grow. I mean, these am I allowed to say clowns on the air? So these clowns in my industry, I mean, if you think about this, they give these financial recommendations and they have no clue about the very tax implications of the recommendations they're making. If you knew today that, look, every dollar I put into a 401k today is going to be taxed at the highest tax rates possible, and then when I die, my kids are going to get double taxed on it again, would you voluntarily do that? Absolutely not. And yet those advisors never explain that to people as they're growing their nest egg. And that's why, I mean, Carl and Mary, it was such a cool conversation. And thank God you were there. Poor Mary, I thought she was going to come unglued. But the fact is that Carl came in and he was working with this advisor. And this advisor had told him, I mean, I was literally, I thought I was going to blow a gasket. This advisor had sat down with him and he created this plan for him. And he said, oh yeah, you're not going to pay taxes for at least 8 or 10 years. The first 8 to 10 years of your retirement, you're never going to pay a dime in taxes. And I looked at Carl for a minute. I said, have you been paying taxes the last 10 years? He said, no, it's been great. I haven't paid any taxes. And I said, your advisor is an effing moron. He's an idiot. Why would he do that? We're at the lowest tax rates we've ever seen in our lives. Why would you not take advantage of these tax rates now? Because and I'm looking at his 401k and his IRA, and this guy has almost $3 million in his accounts. I mean, unlike a lot of Colombians, coming from Colombia, the city of Colombia, he wasn't house poor at this point. He had a boatload of money in 401ks. And for the last 8 years, he had been living tax-free instead of getting money strategically out of those 401ks and IRAs, paying the least amount of taxes now. Because you know what? I sat down with Carl and Mary and I said to them, look, by the time you get to be 73 years old, and that was about 3 years from now, by the time you get to be 73 years old, your RMDs are going to be almost $200,000 a year. $200,000 a year, and you're going to be forced to take it out, even though your income needs are less than 100. You're going to be forced to pay tax on $200,000 a year, and you're going to be paying at the highest tax rates. 85% of your Social Security is going to be taxable. It was insane. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can imagine Mary just kind of like, oh my God, just settle down. But I was so worked up about this because I do not understand. And Carl was just blown out of the water when I showed him the numbers. If you want to understand taxes during retirement, if you want to make sure you're paying the least amount of taxes legally possible, not only today, but in the future, you have to pick up the phone and give us a call. 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Sit down with Ryan, myself, Sam, the team here. We will show you how to create income streams. That's so important. We're going to talk to you about fees. We're going to talk to you about the risk you're taking. We're going to talk about long-term care, estate planning, but taxes. It makes no sense that you voluntarily pay taxes because, believe it or not, The tax system is voluntarily. I'm not saying cheat, but you could choose to arrange your affairs in a way that pays the least amount of taxes legally possible. Why would you volunteer to give those clowns in Congress your money to spend? They don't make good decisions with our money, and we know that. Pick up the phone, 866-597-1040.
Shouldn't we be getting so fired up about this, Mike, more than you? Do people get fired up as much as you do? And then, Sam, I want to get to you on this.
Okay.
Well, the answer is yes. I mean, I think they get caught up in my emotion about it because, again, it's
Really?
I acknowledge every time I get involved with taxes, especially when people come in the door and they have no idea, right? For some reason, they were told they're going to be in a lesser tax bracket because they're going to have less income. Well, why do you want to have less income during retirement? I mean, tell me what exactly is going to change in your spending habits just because you're retired. I would argue between the honey-do list, the bucket list, and the round-to-it list, you're going to spend more money in retirement than you thought you were going to spend.
Absolutely.
And so if you haven't arranged your affairs properly, you're going to pay that much more in taxes. And quite frankly, if you're sitting down with another advisory group, if you have another advisor, if you have a CPA or a tax person, and they're not doing tax planning for you right now, you should get up after you call us and make that appointment. You should set a second appointment with that advisor, with that tax group. And when you walk in the office, walk over there, kick them in the shins and yell at them for not doing tax planning. There is absolutely no reason that the majority of us, the majority of you watching or listening today, the majority of you should not be in a position where you're paying anything in taxes as you go through retirement, because with the proper advice and the proper planning, you can strategically, ooh, that's a big word, strategically choose how to allocate your investments to always be in the lowest tax bracket possible. And you know what the lowest tax bracket possible is today? And this was what blew Carl's mind. Carl and Mary were just so tickled to death. It was going to take us about 8 years, and we had to use some quadros and do some strategic planning for them. But we could get them about 8 years from now into the 0% tax bracket. And that's why I got into this business in the first place. I just absolutely want to make sure people are taken care of. And the fact that his other advisors, the fact that his CPA never told him to do any of these things. As a matter of fact, he said, my advisor said, don't worry about taxes today. We'll worry about them later. Yeah, you damn well better be worried, because now you're going to have over $200,000 a year in income just from RMDs that you're going to be stuck paying 30 to 40% between federal and state taxes. You're going to lose 30 to 40%, Carl. Are you aware of that? And his poor wife, Mary, I mean, by this time she's getting all flustered because I'm all flustered and I'm talking these huge numbers of tax bill. I mean, imagine paying, I don't know, on $200,000, he's going to be paying $70,000 to $80,000 in taxes. And Mary's like, oh my God, I could do so much with that for my kids and grandkids. It was just insane.
Yeah, you should have seen her face. I mean, first of all, Mike gets extremely passionate about everything, especially taxes. You can see this testosterone coming out of his pores. She was scared. She's like, what am I doing here? But that's the beauty of Pro Status, is that I was able to be in that room to provide more of like a soundboard to be like, you know what? Let's calmly go into this. There's multiple people in this meeting that both see the same vision, but we're going to be coming at it at a different angle. So you don't have to be worried about being yelled at because your advisor didn't do the right thing, but we're here to help you through that process. And Pro Status, we do work as a team effort here. And there's a lot of people that have different vibes and different ways and different perspectives of going at stuff. Now, if you want to experience that, give us a call, 866-597-1040. Again, that's 866-597-1040, or visit us at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. You'll come into our office, we'll dig deep into your plan, understand what your current situation is, and then give you recommendations on how we can maybe help you be more tax efficient. Again, visit us at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. That's savvy with 2 V's, or give us a call at 866-597-1040. 866-597-1040.
So the beautiful thing here is that I was able to convey to both Mary and Carl exactly how we were going to create that income stream. And quite honestly, Mary's primary concern was making sure, because she is younger, she wanted to make sure the income stream was going to be there for both her and for Carl. And Carl also recognized that being as older, and men, we typically die earlier because we want to, right? But he also recognized that he wanted to make sure that they both were secure. He wanted it as tax efficient as possible. He understood that time was no longer his friend. I mean, Mary had more time, but he understood what we needed to do. So as we sat down, we created that tax strategy that we said, look, over the next 8 years, here's how we're going to get you to the 0% tax bracket. It was some Roth conversions. We decided that we were either going to pay the tax man or we were going to pay an investment vehicle. One of the two ways we could allocate our money, either pay the tax man now or pay the tax man later. Let's pay the tax man now. Let's get some of those taxes down. We were able to get them to the 0% tax bracket. Mary was excited because she saw the plan. She understood the process. And quite frankly, Sam, I got to give you credit for that because you were able to spell it out in a way that said, look, here's the roadmap. Here's the step-by-step of what we do. And it was interesting just to see, I'm going to say like the soothing effect that you had there when you were explaining to her that, listen, Mike and I work together as a team and here's how we do these things. And here's the structure. And here's the step-by-step and almost the hand-holding. And quite honestly, our job as phase 2 fiduciaries, sometimes, we talked about this earlier, sometimes our job is to hold your hand to keep you from running across the street, but sometimes it's our job to hold your hand to force you to cross the street, right?
Absolutely.
And I could see, after me exploding about the fact that his CPA was worthless and his advisor was worthless, and I can't believe they actually put on those statements, don't talk to me about tax planning, even though I'm giving you recommendations that are going to have a tax impact. I could see Mary was just so happy with the fact that there was a second voice in the room to bring the whole thing together in a way that both Carl and Mary were like, okay, I get this. I see the vision. This is the direction we want to go. If you want that experience, pick up the phone, 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040. Sit down with Ryan, myself, Sam, and the team here at ProStatus. We will show you how to create income streams that you will never outlive. We're going to talk to you about the fees. We're going to talk to you about the risk you're taking, long-term care, estate planning, and taxes. Pick up the phone, 866-597-1040.
Do what the wealthy do. Have a plan to reduce taxes. ProStatus Financial can help. If you are 55 and older, have $500,000 or more for retirement, this is a great opportunity for you to do just that. Get your custom tax strategy, which includes tax planning and Roth conversion analysis. And you can do that right now. As Mike and Samantha have been talking about, give a quick call to 866-597-1040, 866-597-1040, like taxes. 1040, just like taxes, 866-597-1040, and online at thesavvyinvestorradio.com. I'll say that a little slower, thesavvyinvestorradio.com, Savvy with 2 V's. Click on the tax analysis button right there on the front page to schedule a quick 15-minute phone conversation today. Again, that's thesavvyinvestorradio.com.
Advisory services offered through ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, a registered investment advisor. Insurance licensed in Maryland. ProStatus Financial Advisors Group, LLC is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if ProStatus Financial Advisors Group is licensed in your state, please call 410-863-1040. ProStatus Group, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through representatives of ProStatus Financial Advisors Group.